There's one word which I like to use to describe what I do, and that's the word maker. I like to build things, whether it's technology, whether it's science projects just for fun, or with websites or anything related to just building things and getting your creative instincts out. So I kept building things, anything and everything I found fascinating on the internet. And I was 8 years old when my parents got me a Lego Mindstorm robot kit. So I built a humanoid. This is me when I was 8. Uh, Soon I kept researching more and building anything I found interesting on the internet. Uh, so I think subconsciously many of us have heard the word MIT. Do you all know what MIT is? Yeah, just like you. I was very young when my father told me about MIT. He's like, the world's smartest engineers come out of MIT. And without knowing what it was, I knew at that age that that's where I wanted to go, or at least work there. So while I was building things over time and getting more involved in technology, one of the videos I came across in a tutorial mentioned a place called the MIT Media Lab. So when I saw the video, I knew, okay, I have to work there at least once in my life. And funnily, this moment came pretty early. I was 14 years old when I got an invite to work with 100 of India's best engineers, doctors, and designers to solve some of our biggest problems in eye healthcare. MIT had planned this long back, and I had written to a professor named Ramesh Raskar saying, I'm 14 years old, there are kids from Africa going to the Media Lab to learn and build things. Is there something like this in India? I didn't get a reply, but I got an invite for this. So 4 days later, flew to Hyderabad with my dad because I wasn't allowed to go alone legally. And what we built there, the four of us, was an e-reader for the visually impaired. So currently, visually impaired people read when the letters pop out of the paper when they're printed in Braille. And this is done using Braille printers, which are really expensive. So that's not accessible to all the visually impaired people around the world, and especially in developing countries like India. And there are e-readers, just like we have iPads and Kindles, there are similar things for the visually impaired, but they all start off at $2,000. That's little more than 1.2 lakh. So I don't think that's accessible to everyone. So what we built was a device which converted all of our English, PDFs, text files, Word documents to Braille and projected out of the 6 pins you see on that axis. So when you keep your fingers there and you move across the axis, it's like you're moving across a sentence in Braille, and the pins keep moving up and down to represent different letters. Now, this took us 5.5 days to build and cost a little less than $100. It's 6,000 rupees. And just imagine something like this being scaled up, being built better, just like an iPad for someone who's visually impaired. Again, thinking way beyond what already exists, and you know that you have the knowledge to build something, so just go ahead and build it. But what about large scale problems? We're looking at poverty. Nam spoke really beautifully about slum children and how she's doing a great job to help them. But then there are villages which are really far off. Like a village I visited last year for a school trip is in Kutch. It's known as Lakhania. It's I think it's 4 hours away from Bhuj. And there were massive problems, no water, no electricity, the soil was porous, there was no vegetation whatsoever, people were malnourished, animals were malnourished, and school atmosphere was depressing because the teacher came whenever he wanted to. All grade students were sitting together in one class, and some of them were even child married. So how do you solve these large scale problems? We always wait for government to come in, but then we know the kind of battles which go on in Delhi. Whether they're helping our country or not, it's a whole different thing. Some of them are redundant, but okay, I'm not going on it. So how about what do you do when you want to solve such large scale problems? So the first concept we came up with was remakers. The idea is that you want to remake your world. You don't want someone else to do it because it's your world, you get to remake it. Remakers started off as an idea of remake a village. So you take innovators, designers, doctors, social workers to villages. You find the problems and you solve them. You don't wait for government to come in. And there are a lot of billionaires who have a lot of money which they want to invest in philanthropic activities, and they'll be more than willing to fund projects which are like this. So we didn't stick to the name Remake a Village. We wanted to expand it a little bigger. Remakers, you want to change something around you. So you keep this title, you keep the platform, this helps you raise money, this helps you socialize with other social workers. And what's more important than getting the money or the idea is the people to actually execute it. There are tons of ideas which we all have, but execution like she does, it's very difficult to do. So that was the first idea of Remakers, that you get people from different genres and different areas of knowledge together to work and solve one particular problem or many problems together. What else? That's one village. What about our air? There's more and more cars on our road every day, and we are supposedly happy about it. Okay, there's a new car which has come. Fine, I'm going to scrap the old one and buy the new one. No one's ever considering what's happening and coming out of that car. And we're just complaining there's a lot of dust outside. It's so hot, it's humid. In Bombay, we usually complain it's not raining at all, and people don't care to change their driving habits or consumption habits. That's a picture of Delhi a few months back when they complained about a huge smog. What do we do with this? If we don't stop our consumption and use of petrol and pollution at this rate, it's going to keep getting worse. I have asthma, so I understand that it's really taxing to be in a polluted environment. So, can we clean it? Do you think you can clean it, given all the gases that we put in the air? It's challenging, but yeah. So I started. I wanted to do it, and it's my project for next few years. It's one project I'm going to be working on. So in school, we usually get assignments, right? I had a course called computer science where we had to build softwares or any other programs which did things. But I chose to let that go and work on something which actually mattered, not only for the assignment fact of it, and you get your grade. You get your grade for this as well. So this was a device which I built to understand the concentration of gases and dust particles in the air around me. So this was a prototype. It monitors carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide concentration in the air. These are the main pollutants. And the silver box that you see there counts the number of dust particles and nanoparticles going through it every second. Now, why does this matter? Our lungs have something called the bronchi. So if these nanoparticles go in, they usually block the bronchi, so it reduces your lung function. That's what's causing so many deaths, lung cancer everywhere. So this was just a device to monitor and display all the data. Next is actually purifying your air. And we've seen it at a smaller scale in our homes where some people have air purifiers, it captures the dust, it has a filter inside and cleans it. What if we take it to the nano scale, where we can actually filter out gases? And it's very much possible. People are doing it with hybrid algae. It's immediately consuming these gases and giving pure oxygen out. So you can do it. Only thing, you have to start. And you can't bank on other people to do it. You have to do it yourself. And it doesn't matter if you're not a science-oriented person, or if you're a business-oriented guy with a business degree, or if you're a teacher, or if you're a doctor. It doesn't matter, because you can learn anything from anywhere at any time. I'm 17. So if I can do it, you most definitely can do it. That's air. There's a lot more. Water. Maharashtra, Bombay, Ganpati is huge. But what happens after Ganpati is horrible. I don't follow any religion or caste, so I can say things in open. It is not, I don't think it's justified to abuse our nature because we believe in some religion. You want to believe in it, keep it to yourself. Everyone will respect it, but don't spoil everyone's resources for just that one belief. So this is a lot of litter which goes into our waters every year, and that's just one festival of Ganpati. There's plastic which also goes into it. So how do we clean all of this? Now the damage is already done. How do you undo it? So how many of us have owned fish tanks at home? Okay, great. Few of them. Do you know the filter which comes in the fish tank? That actually sucks in all the solid particles in the water and then filters out and sends the clean water out. What if you were to scale it 1,000 times and put it in our oceans? You think it can clean our oceans? I mean, these are just simple things around you which you can scale up to do better things and to help save our planet, which is dying at a rate beyond what we can imagine. That's water. It's plastic. Do we have a Starbucks in Ahmedabad? I don't know. Do we have? No? Okay. We have cafe coffee day and all of these other branches. So every day people consume something like this. There was a Starbucks right next to my school in Bombay, and we'd go every day and buy a drink from there. And that plastic bottle would go into the trash can every day. Now in America, this is way more intense because there's two Starbucks at the end of every lane. So if there's so many people consuming these plastic bottles and cases, where do they go? And that's a lot of plastic waste every day generated all over the world. And there are ways to deal with it. You melt the plastic and you can make any sort of pellets out of it, which can be reused in the industry. Why aren't we doing it? I mean, these ideas are good for research papers and everyone applauds scientists. Fine, you have great research papers and patents. No one's applying it to the real world. So what is happening? If they are not doing it, you do it. Because, I mean, they learned it the same way as anyone else would. So even you can pick it up and you can start making these changes. That's plastic. Food. So many more people getting cancer every day. And stress, bad lifestyle, and food. 3 reasons which mainly contribute to it. There's so many fertilizers being put in because our population is growing at a crazy rate. And because of these fertilizers, the food is growing at an unnaturally fast rate for our consumption. So if we continue to do this, we'll find more and more cases of cancer because these things aren't actually good for our body. They're hurting our stomach. These artificial agents are harming our blood flow, and that can affect any organ in your body. So how about you change the way our food is produced? It sounds very big and different, but if you read a lot on it, there's something known as hydroponics and aquaponics, where people are actually growing their vegetables and fruit on their own terraces inside their own houses. So there is a way to change it. You can get better food by growing it yourself. And yeah, it will cost you effort and time to actually put it in your house. I mean, put it in your house, it sounds weird because you don't want grass growing in your living room. But then it's a machine which grows it. You're not doing it yourself. There's no visible grass or anything. So you can do it. There are ways to change it. If you have excess land, you can put in huge places of aquaponics and hydroponics which can actually grow good quality food. So this is just the beginning of the problems. Look around you, there are way more honestly than you can imagine. And it's not that difficult to solve them. It just requires effort, time, dedication, and perseverance. So look around, speak to people. We usually have this ego that I don't know that person, I'm not going to walk up and talk to him because either he's not as financially stable as I am, or he's smarter, I'm not as smart. Honestly, if you realize that every single person around you is just like you, wants the same things from life as you do, only thing that you're different in certain attributes, doesn't mean that you can't speak to that person or ask about things. So look around, speak to people, visit the places or locations of these problems just like she does, and challenge yourself. If you don't know something, go learn it. There's way too much knowledge than you can actually grasp outside in the world. And start solving. It'll take time when you start, but then you'll get at a pace where you don't want to stop. We spend a lot of time complaining about things than actually solving them. So if we actually divert our energies to better and more constructive things, we'll be happier people every day. And there's someone who's going to speak about happiness, so I'll leave it to him. And we need to change things around us because the truth is nobody else will. And if you don't do it and they don't do it, these problems are just going to keep on piling up and they're not going to come to an end. So it's a simple choice. Live a luxurious lifestyle and follow the trait of live your life to the fullest and buy whatever you want, waste as many things as you want just because you want to live it once, or you actually leave something for future generations so that our civilization can survive for, say, next 2,000 years. So it's that simple choice. And I don't like Apple too much, but I don't see any innovation there, but they charge us a lot for our money. And the guy who started it said one good thing in his life. When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way that it is. You're just supposed to live inside the walls of the world and try not to bash into the walls too much. But that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact. And that is that everything around you that you call life was made by people no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can build your own things that other people can use. It's to shake off this erroneous notion that life is just there and you're just going to live in it, versus change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. And once you learn that, you'll never be the same again. basically means that everything around you is built by people just like you, and that you have the power to change it, improve it, and make it more sustainable for yourself today and tomorrow. Thank you so much.